Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So I want to get it out early that there is going to be a lot of kind of rumor speculation involved in this type of video. But what the topic we're going to be covering today is where a potential landing spot for Nemesis could be in the future, and why I think potentially 100 Thieves could make a ton of sense, even if it doesn't seem like they would necessarily make a ton of sense on the surface. So obviously, we know dating back to this last offseason, everything that happened with Nemesis. Obviously, he was kicked from Fnatic. He was replaced. They weren't exactly sure what who they were going to go with. They tried going after Perks. I'm sure they reached out to a lot of other people as well. They end up signing Niski. They end up having Thebvin as their backup. But a lot of Fnatic's kind of struggles last year ended up being placed on Nemesis. He was kind of the scapegoat. And that led to him, we heard maybe he got some North American offers. Maybe he got some bottom European offers. But he ended up deciding that being a content creator with Gen G, kind of streaming, grinding Korean solo queue, getting to scrim with Korean teams and stuff, was the best option for him while he waits out for a better offer. And in the end, could 100 Thieves be a great offer for him? Would he take it? Would it make sense for him? Would it make sense for the team? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys are not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. Fast, free, it's easy. I would appreciate it so much. We've kind of stalled out the last couple of days. It's been kind of a weird time. We've had, peaks where we're gaining huge subscriber growth numbers, huge view numbers, and the views haven't necessarily gone down recently. It comes and it goes, just especially in the middle of the league season. But subscribers have flattened out a little bit, and that's totally okay. But there is still a lot of people that watch my videos on a pretty consistent basis that aren't subscribed. So hey, consider it. Also, drop a like in this video if you do enjoy my content, want to help support the channel, all that stuff. I would appreciate it so much. With that being said, here we go, getting right into this. And the most important reason of why I'm talking about this stuff is this tweet from Applehead. Now, Applehead is a rumor account, a speculation account. He has been pretty reliable. He's been pretty cool to me. He's a cool dude who's helped us out with a lot of different stories, kind of breaking stuff to us, and just kind of being an overall connection with us. Take everything that he says with a grain of salt, but just know that I trust a lot of things he's saying. And again, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on green cards or getting into the country or becoming a citizen or how any of that stuff works. And not really many people do. It's a very complicated process that gets really hard, especially when you're talking about even visas and stuff like that. And it's all complicated further during the pandemic and all that going on. But he did tweet this. This was actually November 16th, and it kind of flew under the radar, on my radar at least. I kind of missed when this happened, so I never really covered it a ton. But he said, something to note about this offseason that make teams even more terrifying. Both Team Liquid and 100 Thieves will have access to an import slot within this year. Both CoreJJ and Ssumday are on their third year of the green card application, which is often when they are accepted. Now again, I didn't know that third year is when they're most often accepted. I did know that people were saying Ssumday was getting very close, and they thought he might possibly be able to get his green card last offseason, but now within this next coming year, if maybe not until next offseason, is extremely likely that Ssumday will be getting his green card, and he will be becoming kind of a North American resident, a resident player in the LCS, because there were a lot of teams that were really hopeful that was going to get done last offseason. There was teams like TSM who didn't have an import slot open, who were reaching out to 100 Thieves about Ssumday in case he was able to become a resident. So just know that's very close. It could happen in the summer. It could maybe not happen until next offseason, but at some point in the near future, 100 Thieves will have an extra import slot open. Ssumday will be a resident if Ssumday decides to stay with the team. There's always the option that once you become a resident, you are insanely more valuable. You're going to get paid way more. 100 Thieves has the money, but maybe he goes and finds a better offer, better contract. Maybe Team Liquid comes calling, something crazy like that. You never know. There's a lot of people in the world with a lot of money, a lot of teams, all that good stuff. But so I'd heard a lot about Ssumday. I didn't necessarily know about what was going on with CoreJJ, and talking about how he's in the third year of his process as well, which again, if those timelines are similar, they're going through similar processes. We assume all the management stuff is doing everything accordingly. That means Team Liquid's getting really close as well, and we can talk about Team Liquid later in a further video, whatever. In today's video, I mostly want to talk about 100 Thieves, but just know that this stuff is going on out there. I believe he also has this tweet as he talks about TSM is also nearing the final stage with PoE. I know I talked about that. I think maybe it was last week I made a video about that. So this is really interesting for a lot of the teams out there. TL, 100 Thieves, TSM, these are three of the best teams in North America, and them having another import slot open. The import slots don't always necessarily mean results. People have wasted import slots before. Import slots have ended up being terrible decisions before, but theoretically, and just in terms of rumor and speculation, they can be a lot of fun. And this leads me to the point of 100 Thieves, if Ssumday becomes a resident. Right now, their imports are Ssumday and Closer. They are the residents of Huhi, FBI, and Demonte, meaning that if Ssumday was able to become a resident, they would have an import slot. And what would they do with it? Now, right now, Ssumday has been great. Closer, he is an import already, so, you wouldn't really be looking to change up anything there. Closer's been pretty good anyway. FBI and Huhi in the bot lane. FBI's been one of the better AD carries, and Huhi shows a ton of promise and talent as supports. And honestly, so far this season, he looked like one of the best supports. Demonte is obviously where most people would initially begin to start pointing their fingers. He has, at times, been a very, very solid North American mid laner. He's even been a very, very good North American mid laner at some times. He has been on teams that have gone to Worlds. I don't know if people would say that those teams have gone to Worlds because of him, but he has played a part of a team that has went to Worlds. He then went to Worlds and did not look very good. His team didn't look very good either, and sometimes, when your team doesn't look good, it can make it hard for yourself to look good. But many people would not argue that Demonte is extremely replaceable. And in terms of a team that's trying to go to Worlds, trying to go to MSI, trying to win LCS titles, trying to do damage, Demonte is probably not going to cut it. Now, maybe Demonte gets way better, maybe he's still progressing, maybe he ramps up, maybe he shows more signs of promise, maybe he becomes a more complete player, whatever. At this time, I don't think you would find very many people arguing that Demonte is the mid laner they would want. He would be one of their top choices if they're trying to win titles, go to MSI, go to Worlds, whatever. I don't know exactly where I'd rank him. 5th best mid laner in NA, 6th, somewhere like that. He has some high highs. He can be a big playmaker. He can be a nice facilitator for teams. But he has some downsides as well. He has holes in his game, clearly. So that gets me back to the point, obviously, of Nemesis. Now, Nemesis is a mid laner out there. He has flaws himself. But in terms of what he's been able to accomplish in his career, even though he went to Worlds last year and didn't look great, he was still on a team that was able to take top esports to Game 5. They almost made it to the semifinals. I know he was on Fnatic the year before, and Fnatic did a lot of awesome things. They've at times been able to stand toe-to-toe with G2. They've usually had pretty good Worlds performances. And Nemesis has gone through periods where he has looked like one of the better mid laners in the LEC. He did have obviously periods where he didn't look like quite that, but he is a relatively young player who has a chance to have a bright future ahead of him. I know a lot of people still believe in him. Just because things didn't work out in Fnatic doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be on some LEC, some LCS team. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find people who would disagree that Nemesis is probably a pretty significant, at least an upgrade, if not a pretty significant upgrade over Demonte. So, say Ssumday is able to become a resident, or before the summer split, in between the spring and summer split, and 100 Thieves was looking for an import mid laner. Would Nemesis be the guy they gave a call? And if they called up Nemesis, would he be interested? Now, I know Nemesis has been holding out for good offers. The advice from LS and a lot of other people is, don't take a bad offer and ruin your career. Because, right now, people are pretty down on Nemesis. People are shitting on him. He got kicked out of Fnatic. No other teams, had a ton of interest in him. If he goes to a bad team where it's hard to look good, even if he plays pretty well, he could still look bad in a bad team. And then his career could potentially be over. As sad, as crazy as that sounds, the League of Legends esports and esports in general move so fast. It's what have you done for me lately? Are you popping off? Are you showing big results? You can be on top of the world like he was with Fnatic, 2 years ago, and then you can be out of the league before you know it. We've seen it happen before with people that end up in bad situations. So much of the advice is don't end up in a bad situation. Wait for the right offer. Don't chase the money. And again, I'm not sure how willing he would be to come to North America, how he feels about that. It's kind of tough to tell. It really varies player by player. But man, 100 Thieves would be a pretty good situation. You have an awesome bot lane in FBI and Huhi. You have one of the best bot lanes in North America, one of the best top lanes in North America in Ssumday. And if Nemesis was able to come and prove himself to be a quality top mid laner once again, like maybe he used to be once in the LEC, especially playing in the LCS where mid lane talent is, overall pretty much weaker than the LEC, he would have a real chance to revitalize his career. Now, obviously, he would be taking a risk that he is actually a top tier mid laner, because if he comes over and he just sucks, then, it wouldn't really matter anyway. You can wait for the most perfect situation in the world. If he keeps playing like he did at times that he did in 2020 with Fnatic, then there's no team, no situation that's going to help him. But man, 100 Thieves would be a pretty good situation, I feel like, for him to be able to have an opportunity to go to Worlds. 100 Thieves can absolutely be a top 3 team in North America. That would give him a chance to prove himself in the LCS, but also prove himself on the international stage and really be trying out for more teams and putting himself in an actual good position with a chance to succeed with a team that needs mid lane help. 100 Thieves would need mid lane help, and Nemesis would need the help of a decent team. He doesn't want to go to some bad team, but a top team probably isn't going to give him a chance at this point because most top teams have established mid laners or are able to, entice an established mid laner from their team pretty easily. So what I'm just kind of thinking in my head, I don't really know what offers are going to be coming to Nemesis in the LEC. I don't know exactly what he's waiting for. Again, in the LEC, most teams are built around their mid laners. Mid laners are captain, stars of the team, a guy that they're pretty comfortable with going in the future. And if you went on a team in the LEC, you're probably going to have to go on a mid-bottom tier team that probably doesn't have a chance to go to Worlds. You're not going to be on Rogue. You're not going to be on G2. You're not going to be on Fnatic. And, those are probably going to be the 3 teams going to Worlds. Maybe it's Mad Lions, maybe it's Schalke, but is Mad Lions replacing Humanoid anytime soon? Is Schalke replacing Abbedagge anytime soon? I just don't see it happening. I see his opportunity to kind of revitalize his career being in North America, and there are some real opportunities. I thought Evil Geniuses was a great opportunity. Who knows if he actually got an offer from them or whatever, but I could see how you could have a problem with definitely being AD carry. There's some question marks there going on. 100 Thieves, I think, has much less question marks. I think they're a much more respectable team. I think they're overall probably a better team than Evil Geniuses, and that's even with DeMonte right now. And if they got Nemesis, I think that would be an even bigger upgrade, and they would really start to pull away from the other teams in the LCS if Nemesis is actually the real deal, if he is actually more like 2019 Nemesis and less like 2020 Nemesis. So in the end, I think it would make a ton of sense for both parties. Again, Ssumday is getting closer and closer to his green card. We don't know exactly when it's going to be. Maybe it'll be in the summer. Maybe it won't be until next winter. Maybe it won't be until after Worlds. We don't know. It's definitely something I'm going to be keeping my eye on and continually updating you guys about. And if I ever hear any news, you will definitely get a video from me about it. But again, PoE, Core JJ, Ssumday, they're all out there. They're all really, really interesting to theory craft around and just kind of see how we can mix and match all these different players with teams and rosters and how really the landscape of the entire League of Legends season would change. But I just wanted to give my pitch to you guys about how I think Nemesis could be a great fit for 100 Thieves, and 100 Thieves could be a great fit for Nemesis. That is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about all the stuff I had to say? Do you think 100 Thieves would want Nemesis? Should they want Nemesis? Should Nemesis want to go to North America? 100 Thieves, what team could you see him ending up on? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next one, but until then, peace!